Have you ever been told that vegetarians can't get enough vitamin B12? That it's nearly impossible without meat or supplements? What if I told you that this common wisdom might not be the full truth? Imagine this. You've been living a healthy plant-based lifestyle. You feel lighter, your digestion feels smoother, your energy is up, but suddenly you start noticing small nagging changes. You feel a little more tired than usual. Your memory sometimes feels foggy. Your skin doesn't glow like before. Could it be aging? Or could it be a silent lack of vitamin B12 slowly creeping up on you? For Americans over 50, the story takes on an even sharper edge because even if you eat meat, your body naturally struggles to absorb B12 as efficiently with age. And yet, in the first 60 seconds of this conversation, I want you to hold on to one idea. There are actually vegetarian foods that can boost your vitamin B12 intake. Yes, 5 surprising vegetarian foods to increase vitamin B12 without relying solely on pills. It sounds almost impossible, right? Let's walk through this together, because the truth is both shocking and inspiring. When I first began learning about nutrition after 50, I stumbled upon the belief that vegetarians were destined for B12 deficiency. That frightened me, because B12 is not just another vitamin you can brush aside. It's the silent protector of your nervous system. The spark that helps your body produce red blood cells, and a quiet guardian of memory and focus. Without it, anemia, fatigue, and cognitive decline creep in. Often mistaken for just getting older, and here's the twist. Even though B12 is traditionally found in animal products, the vegetarian world has been quietly building its own arsenal of foods fortified and naturally rich enough to stand as powerful allies. This discovery made me rethink not just diet, but the way we talk about health after 50. We often get told what we cannot do. Instead of what we can create for ourselves, let's begin with something that changed my perspective. Fortified nutritional yeast. Now don't let the name scare you. When I first heard of it, I thought, yeast on my food? That sounded like some experimental science project. But when I tried it, I discovered it tastes nutty, almost cheesy, and it blends beautifully into soups, salads, or even sprinkled on popcorn. The shocker? Just 2 tablespoons can pack nearly all of your daily B12 needs. Imagine that, a simple golden flake, vegan and vegetarian friendly, transforming your health. I still remember the first time I swapped Parmesan for nutritional yeast on my pasta. The flavor delighted me, but what really thrilled me was the empowerment. I was feeding my nervous system, my blood, my memory without a single pill. Without feeling like I was missing out. If you've never tried it, I dare you to test it this week. And if you already use it, share your favorite recipe in the comments. I'd love to hear how you make it part of your story, but yeast isn't the only surprise. Have you ever thought about plant-based milks? Almond, soy, oat. What used to be alternatives have now become staples in many American kitchens. For vegetarians over 50, fortified plant-based milk is a secret weapon. Why? Because manufacturers often add vitamin B12 directly. Knowing that it's the one nutrient many plant-based eaters miss, it's not just a drink anymore. It's a strategic choice. I recall switching from regular milk to soy milk when my digestion started to rebel against dairy. At first, it felt like a sacrifice goodbye. Creamy morning coffee. But then I realized that single glass of fortified soy milk gave me not only calcium but also a boost of B12. It turned from a reluctant swap into a small act of rebellion against aging itself. Here's the key insight. B12 deficiency isn't about being vegetarian. It's about not being intentional. And plant-based milk makes intention taste like comfort. If you're listening and nodding, maybe it's time to look at the nutrition label of what's already in your fridge. You may be surprised by the hidden B12 gift sitting on the shelf now. Let me challenge you with a food you might have overlooked. Fortified cereals. Cereal. You might laugh. Isn't that for kids? Isn't it packed with sugar? And yes, many brands aren't exactly health champions. But certain cereals brand flakes, whole grain options, are fortified with B12, designed originally to fill the gaps in modern diets. For someone over 50, this is an unexpected friend. I remember a conversation with a retired teacher who told me She starts her day with a small bowl of fortified brand cereal, sliced bananas on top, and almond milk. Not only does she get fiber to keep her digestion smooth, but that fortified cereal quietly feeds her body with B12. What looks like a simple breakfast turns into a life-supporting ritual, and it made me reflect. Sometimes the foods we dismiss as too ordinary are the ones quietly keeping us alive. What's ordinary for one person can be extraordinary for another. Let's take a more unusual turn. Mushrooms. Not just any mushroom, but shiitake. Did you know that certain mushrooms contain trace amounts of B12? They're not a powerhouse source like yeast or fortified foods, but they carry something magical, a connection to the earth itself. When I cook with shiitake mushrooms, I feel like I'm eating a piece of wisdom passed down through centuries of Asian cuisine. They bring not only a deep umami flavor, but also a reminder. Nature often hides treasures in unexpected places. Are mushrooms going to cover your full B12 needs? Probably not. But combined with other foods, they weave themselves into the safety net of your diet. And sometimes, the emotional comfort of a warm shiitake broth, especially on a chilly evening, nourishes your spirit as much as your body. If you've ever felt that sense of calm from a bowl of mushroom soup, you know what I mean? This is what health after 50 should feel like a checklist, more like a conversation with your food. And then, there's the one most people don't expect, seaweed and algae-based foods. Spirulina, nori, chlorella, words that sound exotic, sometimes intimidating, but behind the strangeness lies a revolution. Scientists have found that certain algae contain bioactive forms of B12. And while not all are equally effective, they're a remarkable glimpse into where nutrition might be heading. Imagine wrapping your sushi roll in nori, not just for taste, but for brain protection. Or stirring a teaspoon of spirulina powder into your smoothie and knowing you're feeding your cells a cocktail of micronutrients, including that elusive B12. When I first tried spirulina, the taste was, let's just say, unique. But when I paired it with banana and pineapple, it became a tropical green elixir that lifted my energy in ways coffee never could. And here's the emotional layer, it felt like. I was participating in a bigger story, one where humanity learns to live sustainably, drawing nourishment from the very waters that cover most of our planet. Isn't that a hopeful twist for our generation? At this point, you might be wondering, can vegetarian foods truly replace the B12 from meat? The honest answer, it's complicated. Fortified foods do most of the heavy lifting. Natural vegetarian sources like mushrooms or algae contribute, but they don't guarantee enough on their own. For many over 50, even with these foods, a supplement might still be needed. And here's where I want to pause and speak heart to heart. Taking a supplement is not a failure. It's wisdom. It's recognizing that aging bodies absorb differently and that science gives us tools our grandparents didn't have. But knowing that we have 5 powerful vegetarian foods to lean on: nutritional yeast, plant-based milks, fortified cereals, mushrooms, and algae gives us choice, and choice is power. It means you can design your diet with creativity instead of fear. So what's the takeaway for you? Sitting here, maybe sipping your evening tea? Maybe reflecting on your own health journey after 50? It's this: vitamin B12 deficiency is not an unavoidable fate. It's a challenge, yes, but one with answers. And those answers don't always look like a pill bottle. They look like golden flakes sprinkled on pasta, a glass of almond milk, a bowl of bran cereal, a comforting mushroom broth, or a sushi roll wrapped in seaweed. They look like joy. They look like possibility. If you've ever felt tired and wondered if it's just age, if you've ever noticed memory slipping and thought this is just how it goes, I encourage you, pause and ask, what if it's not age? What if it's my B12? Because here's the twist most people don't realize. Correcting a deficiency can sometimes bring back energy, clarity, and vitality in ways that feel almost miraculous. Imagine waking up and feeling sharper, not because you turned back time, because you gave your body what it was quietly begging for. Isn't that worth exploring? So here's what I ask of you. If you found even one idea today that sparked curiosity, leave a comment below. Tell me which of these foods you'll try, or which one you already love. And don't forget to subscribe, because the journey of health after 50 is not about doing it alone. It's about community, about shared wisdom, about lifting each other up. Together, we can write a different story about aging, one that feels empowered, vibrant, and full of surprises. And let me leave you with this final thought. Everyone expects decline with age, but few expect revival. Yet revival is exactly what can happen when you feed your body right. 5 vegetarian foods may sound simple, almost too simple. But sometimes simplicity is the miracle we've been overlooking all along.